Hey, it's Trey with the Trey Brews channel. Gonna start this video off with a picture, actually. This is a little, what I guess I'll call a visual checklist of all of the items that you will need when bottling. So first, starting at the top, we've got the brew kettle. To the right of that, we've got the 6.5 gallon bottling bucket. And then on the far left, we have the auto siphon with the hose connected to that. Inside of that little coiled hose there is a beer bottle. Definitely be needing those. To the right of the beer bottle is some PBW cleaner. Below the bottle is the bottle caps. If you're doing a 5-gallon batch, you'll need about 50 or so bottle caps. If you're doing a 1-gallon batch, you'll need about 10 caps. Just to the left of the caps is a little holder for the auto siphon, which I'll show later in the video. To the right of the caps, we have the bottle brush, which is used to wash the inside of the bottles. Then next to that, we have the bottle capper. Below that is a bottling wand, which I will also show. Just up above and to the right of the capper, we have priming sugar, which is going to be used to convert some of the, actually the sugar will be converted to carbonation from the yeast once we put that in the bottles. Below that is the Star San sanitizer. To the right of that is a tiny piece of hose that connects to the spigot at the bottom of that bucket and then connects to the bottling wand. And then inside of that hose is a little pot that we will heat up water and sugar in. So let's get started. So your very first step when you're bottling that you want to do is take your carboy to wherever it's going to be when you siphon it down into the bottling bucket. So I've got it here. This is where it's going to be when I siphon, and I moved it here actually an hour before I even started dissolving the sugar. So it's going to have plenty of time to allow the trub to settle back down from after I moved it. You'll see there's already minimal trub because this is my primary. This is my secondary, so it's already got minimal trub. But get that moved there within plenty of time so that everything settles down. Once you've got your carboy in place, what you want to do next is get the sugar started as soon as you can. So I have this Brewer's Best priming sugar. It's 5 ounces of it, which is basically the exact amount you need for a 5-gallon batch, which is what we're doing here. So just simply get all of this into a pot. We're going to add in water. I will be using about 1.5 cups of water. I don't usually measure it. The water amount doesn't really matter that much. You just have to make sure to have enough to get that sugar dissolved. So I'm going to turn this on. Get this up to a boil, stir it around occasionally, and let it boil for 5 minutes once it starts boiling. Okay, so we've got two very important products. If you don't know, sanitization is very important in brewing. So your first product we're going to talk about here is the cleaner, which is PBW. And the second product is the sanitizer, which is called Star San here. So, my basic process for cleaning and sanitizing is I've got my 5-gallon kettle here. I fill that up from the faucet. As you can see, there's some steaming already in there. Fill that up with hot water and the cleaner or Star San, depending on which of the two I'm doing. And then I'll pick that up and put it into my 6.5 gallon bucket here. And I do that because the bucket simply can't reach into my sink. That's why I transfer it with the kettle. That's the only importance of the kettle here. You may not even need the kettle. But basically, everything else I showed in the picture I took and showed at the beginning of the video, the capper, the caps, bottles, everything needs to be cleaned first, set back down on a clean surface, and then we will repeat the process by filling this pot up again with hot water, putting in the Star San, transferring the sanitizer over to the bucket over there, and then cleaning all the bottles, everything again, and then that's what you gotta do. 50 bottles. Okay, so our sugar water just got done boiling. Gonna turn that off, take it off the heat immediately. The reason we do that first is we just boiled that, so it's probably 200 something degrees, and we eventually mix that in with the wort, which is supposed to be pretty much 70 degrees or lower. Technically you can go above 70, but we'll just say 70. So this needs to get down into a safe temperature to put in there. So I do that first, allow it plenty of time to cool down, so I'm not waiting on this. I'd rather this be waiting on me than me waiting on this. So that's that. Now we're going to get to cleaning and sanitizing. Alright, so as I said, we've got the PBW in the bucket here. We're going to put the strainer clamp, the capper, the bottle cleaner, come on, the bottle wand, the piece of hose that will go from the bottle wand to the bucket here, and then lastly the siphon. Or not lastly, I'm sorry. I already have some caps in there, but if you don't want to count your caps, that's fine. You can clean them, you can sanitize them, and if you have extra, just put them back, it's fine. I always make sure to put plenty, but I don't take the time to count them out. And then of course your bottles, which I'll get to that in a moment. One thing I did want to show here, with your auto siphon, all you do to get that clean, just use it like you're pumping wort or beer. Just pump it a few times to get some cleaner through there, then just let it sit for a bit. Everything that I showed, everything I showed that was in this bottling bucket that was being cleaned has been taken out. I do that to make room for my bottles. So I have 48 bottles here for a 5-gallon batch. Simply, well, sorry, I usually do multiples at a time. I will hold them underwater, as so you can probably hear the bubbling noise. Fill them with the cleaner. Go and pick up another few. What you can do actually is fill this up quite a lot. Then you just have them constantly in here, and you fill them up, let them sink to the bottom, let them sit just like that for a bit. You will have to definitely do this with a few different batches. So I just did about 8, I think. And so we'll let these sit, drain them out, and then do the rest of the 48. Last thing I wanted to show, and you only do this with cleaning, not sanitizing, is we have our bottle brush cleaner. Keep a little bit of that cleaner in the bottle. Stick this in here. There we go. And you can just see it gets all in there, cleans out all the nooks and crannies. These bottles do sit on, they sit in boxes, they're shipped, they sit in stores. They can accumulate dust is what I'm trying to point out, or dirt, dust, anything. So this brush works great for that. Okay, so as I just washed or cleaned everything with PBW, I now have some star sand already in the bucket and the rest of my star sand in my kettle here. So I'm going to fill the rest of the bucket up. And everything that I just cleaned, I'm also going to sanitize, including all 48 bottles as we did with the cleaner. So just an exact repeat. Got one last step for the sanitization and cleaner, which I'll show, and then we're actually going to get closer to bottling. One last very important step, if you have a bottling bucket like this, if you're fortunate to, you'll have a spigot down here that your beer will eventually run out of. So open that spigot up, let it drain for probably a minute just to be safe. You do this with both the cleaner and the sanitizer, and that makes sure that that spigot is completely clean and sanitized as well. So we're going to put the siphon holder on here. Oops. Actually goes around first. Set the siphon down in there. Oops. Jeez, sorry, first time or second time using this. Guess I should know if it's my second time, but I don't. So, yeah, you can see. So just simply give it a few quick pumps. So it's pretty steady in there. You can see the beer is flowing in. So, just put it back down. Got the carboy here. The nice thing with this little holder is usually you'd have to hold onto this constantly, but this holds onto it for you. I feel like that's supposed to go down another level. Maybe not, I don't know. But it's doing its job, but just allows you to push it down further if needed, and it just continues to siphon on down into here with this bottling bucket that you can no longer see. We'll get all the beer siphoned down into the bucket, move the bucket up, and start actually bottling. One last thing I'll try to show is you can tilt the carboy with the with the siphon still in there to get that last bit of beer down into your bucket here. Still try to avoid as much trube as you can, but tilting this definitely lets you get a lot more beer out of the carboy. Okay, so hopefully you can see this pretty well. You can see my spigot, and then of course behind that's the bucket. So I'm going to open the spigot. Oh, I was confused at first while it wasn't running. So on this bottling one, there's a spring at the bottom. So, as I thought, yep, there we go. So, as I'm pressing down at the bottom of the bottle, it's filling up the beer bottle. So, that's a full beer bottle, and I'll get a better angle on this one. Just want to explain the spigot and everything. So here's the bottling wand down into the bottom of the bottle, and hopefully you can at least kind of see that filling up, but it most definitely is. And then once it gets up towards the top, we let it go almost to where it's overflowing, and then we pull it out, because again, as you'll see, beer is at the top of the bottle, because when we fill it up to the top, you're emptying out some of that space from the bottling wand. So again, fill it up, get it to the very top, and then, whoop, see, got a little bit of overflow there, which is fine. Alright, so we've got our full bottle. Take our sanitized cap and capper. You kind of just hear, you both hear and feel a spring come down on it. That's when you know it's capped. So again, here's another one. There's two capped. I'll do one last one. So again, just do this to all bottles. And then I'll show one last clip of how I personally store them. It works out great for me. Okay, so we got a yield of 44 12-ounce bottles. These are the boxes they came in. They actually are really nice because, again, this is exactly what they came in, but they're all separated. Very easy for storage. So I just simply fill them all up, put them back in the box they came in, and I'm just, the only reason I have this one open is for display, so I can show you guys. But I'll close those up, leave them there for 2 to 3 weeks. That's when you can pop them open, try them. Hopefully it's good. If you already are tired of bottling, I probably suggest you get a keg. So if you like the video, or want to watch some future videos, be sure to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And you can check out my website, which I'll link in the description as well. And it's traybrews.com. Thanks, guys.